Hello and welcome to episode 11 of our Timberborn 1.0 experimental ant farm playthrough with the Iron Teeth faction. Cycle 12, day 10. Got about 13 days left in our current bad tide. And like we have been for the past several episodes, we're in a good spot, but we're not in a great spot. And we can continue building incrementally upon the things that we did last episode and the episode before to get us in the best possible position before we are going to be faced with the 30-day bad tides, 30-day droughts. So let's talk. I don't need to, pause the game anymore because we're in a pretty good spot. But let's talk about what we're going to try and accomplish today. First of all, we need to, not while there's a bad tide, but we need to replace these with sluice gates, and then we need to cover on top with some platforms and some of these impermeable floors so that there's absolutely no possibility of splashing. And then once that's complete, since we are on the pathway to eventually unlocking these irrigation barriers, once we have enough pines to harvest resin and then make the treated planks for, we could start to reclaim some of this land, depending on how we want to play our cards here. Outside of that, there's a couple improvements we can make down here. I really liked this one idea specifically of putting in one of these areas a sluice gate to keep this constantly irrigated, since we're not really using this reservoir except as an emergency. Oops, we don't have any more water, let's turn this pump on thing. That would be probably a little bit better of a thing to do during the next drought, possibly, instead of right now, because this is currently looking okay and it's only 12.5 days. We also have the options over here to put in some of these smaller water wheels so that we can generate some power and then have that brought all the way up top here. But in addition to this, I was given a little bit more clarity on an idea that was proposed in a previous video, and that was regarding the diversion here. Apparently, I had kind of misinterpreted the whole situation with this blockage here, and that if we remove this and replace it with a dam, then if this is clean water, then none of it's going to flow out here because it's never going to get high enough. It's just going to fall off this edge. But if this sluice is shut, then basically, maybe not all of it, but at the very least, most of it would just fall right through here, and we wouldn't have to have this come up all the way and get pressurized to contaminate more of this land. But that's a future problem. It's something we'll have to do a little bit later on. And then instead of making things super complicated with what trees go where, I think we can just make a little bit better use of some of this land. Like up here, since this is basically always going to be irrigated, what we could do, if I had laid this out just a tiny bit different, we could have put in some mangroves in here, and we still can. I just don't know that it's really a great use of our resources at this time. But I will pre-plant these 8. Actually, I can't do 8. It's only going to be able to be 7 because I do have to be able to get down here. But 7 mangrove trees there, long term, would not be a bad idea. These are going to be able to grow stuff. The pollution doesn't reach all the way in there. And if I wanted to slightly rearrange how this was set up, I could probably plant some in here too. But the way this is set up right now, I don't think it's going to make any sense. So let's get this through the rest of the night here and take a look at fixing some of our logistical nightmares that we've created because of how this has been set up. They're still working on getting this warehouse up and running. This is going to be for raw cassava because we want to be able to store the maximum possible future quantity of nutrients for the beavers. So, come all the way down here. Whole lot of discussion about how I decided to lay all this stuff out. I know this is just an absolute mess. Part of that was because I only have the small tanks and it didn't really matter, but now that we do have the medium ones, we can try to condense this just a little bit more. And we could also have put these inventors in a different orientation. I know that got brought up a few times. I don't think it's mission critical at this exact moment, but that is something we're going to want to keep an eye on a little bit further down the line. We have all this space right here. And since we know this is never going to be polluted again, I think this is going to be a good opportunity, instead of having oaks here, for us to have pines instead. Because long term, we're going to want pines so that we can get the resin. And if we just, try to get this growing in here without it being a whole big deal, then I think that's going to be for the best. So let's unpause this forester, get somebody in here to take care of that. We do have these dead birch trees down here, and I'll turn this on So we know we can take advantage of that, and then those will get replaced. This here, additionally, mangrove trees could be replanted because this is never going to be polluted again. This is still going to be polluted until we can get the irrigation barriers, unfortunately. But for right now, it's probably fine. We can, of course, continue putting other stuff in here. Maybe doing a little bit more with removing these blockages and building up with dams along the outside. But I don't want to use too much wood too quickly, considering how much we've already done. Now, we've got these oak trees here that have not been cut down because they were not marked for cutting, and that is absolutely on me. So we'll go ahead and get those marked. We do have kohlrabies here, some of which died because we had poison, and some of which are fine. This farm is currently paused because I didn't have enough beavers, and honestly our food situation was looking well enough for it not to be a concern. And yes, I am going to fix this mess here, which we might as well go ahead and do. I didn't catch that until I was in editing for the previous episode, and I did tell you guys to remind me. And now, well, it's time for me to follow through on that and just get this set up. Nice and easy. Obviously, this is a lot more wood than I currently have available, but they'll get to it. Not that big of a deal. This is just in service of us getting more water pumped more quickly, which should always be the goal we're working toward. But I am very, very interested to see, one, not right now, but when it is possible, how getting in here, removing this blockage, and making it so that there's less pollution going in fewer places, how much that's going to help. It should make a substantial difference. So these are waiting to get cut down. Oh, these aren't marked. I have not been following through with my duty to mark my trees for cutting, and I know that is a very frustrating thing for you guys to watch. But now let's talk a little bit about what we have going on over here. We have, of course, the compacted water wheel. That, for the time being, with how this is set up, this is just, it's really the only way for this to make sense. But long term, this is probably not how this is going to be set up. This is just what worked for right now. Until we can have this bad water source completely forced open with the help of a bad water discharge, then this is about the best we're going to be able to do up here. We do need to get into harvesting bad water and working toward making explosives. Now, 200 metal is going to take a while with just this single thing, but you know, that's just kind of how it is. It's going to take longer. I know it doesn't make any sense, but because the gears are much more commonly used for things that we're actually wanting to build right now, it's going to take us a lot longer to get 300 gears than it will be to get the 200 metal blocks, because it's 3 hours to make a single gear in a gear workshop, and I only have one right now, and I really should have more. I just don't have a good spot for it. So that is where this area down here comes into play, like I talked about earlier. So the idea is, if we can just create an environment in which we can generate a little bit more power and put something near here that we can actually draw from. Falling water does not generate any power in this game. It has to be flowing side to side, so it does have to be all the way down here at the bottom. And I know I haven't researched the large wheels yet, so it's not going to even be possible for me to tell how much power would come from that. But right here, if I put in these two right here, it should generate roughly 200. I don't really have a lot of other great spots because of the location of these ruins here, and obviously I'm not sending any beavers down into Badwater to take care of that. So that, if I were going to clear this out a little bit more, would maybe make sense to do that. If I came down here, and I put it right here on the exit at 238, that's a tremendous amount of power for one water wheel, but I'd still have to remove one of these blockages at the very least so that I could build a power shaft on the other side on top of a levee or something, and then have that go straight up, which each one of these requires a gear. So, you know, there's a reason why I haven't done any of that quite yet. But we have good access right here, and if I can at least get something started I can't really get across this side without building at least something else here. I could put a platform here and then they could just walk across this, but I obviously can't path across that. If I were able to, that's a big if, get them to build over in this area by coming from over here, then I could probably get by putting in one of these in a strategic location, but I think it's just going to make the most sense long term to figure out a way to get them over on this right here and this right here and just get about 150 and then try to get some sort of other stuff going that way. I think they can walk through the ruins to build some of this stuff, but they can't do anything like with a path coming through here. So they can walk through to build these from this one side. I think this is in range. This obviously won't be. But depending on how I want to play my cards, if I've got enough planks, if I can make enough planks, I can get this going through here. All I would have to do is put in, I believe, a levee here. Or maybe, well, if I'm going to do one, I should put it right there. That would force all the water through here. It should increase the rating on these two, which means I need to see if this is going to be in range enough. It says no, which means this definitely wouldn't be. Okay. Okay, so that does kind of complicate things here. Now I could remove this blockage by standing on here, and then I could remove this one, and then I could just put in regular platforms here. I could, invest some science and some suspension bridges to get over here. I think this is probably, without doing too much other nonsense, probably the best place for this to go. And then if I'm going to build across here anyway, then I might as well just directly stick a gear workshop on this side, or on this side, depending on how we wanted to do it. But these are going to be in the way, and until I can remove them, then that's just going to cause other issues. So anyway, extremely long story. You guys probably don't care, but I think this is going to be good. Just have to be able to get rid of enough of this stuff. So if I am able to just get a scavenger flag here. Remember, we're doing a whole lot at once. I know it's not necessarily the best expenditure of resources to get all this done at the same time, but my brain operates best when I am able to just set a whole bunch of stuff up and forget it. So we'll just go for this. Probably still going to require getting across here. If I can get this one tile built here. So I'm not going to be able to, yeah. If I can do that and get a path on that, that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, that might not. It'll let me build this, but it might not let me build this. We'll just try for this. We'll see what they're able to do. And I don't have space for the large industrial pile basically anywhere down here unless I were to build it in here, but I can't do that. Not a lot of space unless I were to move this inventor somewhere else, but I do need the science. So long term I think we can just kind of leave that there and it'll be fine. Need to keep an eye on my water dumps here, so let's turn that on real quick so we don't forget. Why did that one not get cut down? Well, I guess that's alright. We've got these pine trees going in just fine. I'm going to unmark that. That is not even going to be able to get replanted. That's fine. We already knew that. Food-wise, we're looking good. I need more storage, I know. Don't quite have it yet. Good. Now I have the big storage for regular cassavas. I'm going to keep this right here because, well, it's already there, and this is closer to these two things. But since this is full, and the corn situation is what the corn situation is, I'm going to pause this one and this one, which is going to make it possible for me to have This fully powered, I probably... If it's making 240, and this is going to use 75, that's going to use 25, so that's 100. I could turn the regular gear workshop on, as opposed to what other kind of gear workshop, genius? Because I know I need to have more gears, no matter what, long term. But I kind of wanted to keep enough beavers available to take care of all the other jobs without having to worry about it. I guess for right now, this is probably okay. We're doing a whole lot of juggling, I know. But that's fine. We also have all of these birch trees here that we can and should get removed. I know those have not been marked for cutting, and I do need to get rid of those. So that should be a priority for these guys. So I'll keep that paused, unpause that. Eventually I do want to get this taken care of, but I don't want to go over here while we still have Badwater happening because, well, that's a very obvious reason why that would be a problem. Yeah, just get this a little bit higher. We'll go check on what those guys are doing down there. Alright, how are we? Good. So this one just by itself is making 108. And that's pretty good. But obviously it needs some help down here, so this is going to be a whole thing. This is it's a lot of scrap metal that we don't really have a use for at this present time. I'm going to pause this scavenger flag so that any future scrap metal we grab is going to have to come from down here. Like I already said, I don't have a great spot to put it, except this is all the way over there, so that's, well, it is what it is. I guess I can justify putting a beaver in a gear workshop since we're already making that power. We got 1800 water, that's looking good. I don't have anybody still pumping, right? Like, surely I would not have... Oh, well, I guess that solves that problem. I didn't need to have those guys going. I know we need more beaver storage. I gotta find a good place for that. Currently, I don't have one. Unless I were to build on top of something else. So this is kind of important. I can't really do anything else there. This isn't going to be tall enough. I do want to have access to here. Okay, now this might sound kind of stupid. But this may actually be the closest thing we have to a decent spot. I don't know that I'm going to commit to that yet. Just by the, you know, the issues we're having with vertical clearance in a lot of spots. Let's take this out of triple speed. These are marked for cutting, but you know what? I don't think I have a lumberjack close enough to any of this. This cassava storage does not need to be here. Let's get rid of this. We can simplify our pathing just a touch. Not that that's going to be something happening very quickly at all, but I'm going to remove, without waiting on that, I'm just going to put a lumberjack flag here because this is the only spot that makes sense. Alright, so this and this combined are making 186. This is being constructed. I'm imagining this is going to push this up to around 200, 220-ish, based on what the other stuff was looking like. And then, of course, once that's done, it's going to be easier for us to get into other spots. I was hoping to have any future industrial stuff we're building to be on this side, but as we both know, this is going to take us a while to get through this. The fastest route is going to be to have this come through this side. So I've got planks. I can put one platform here, and then I can stick a gear workshop all the way down here. That's about the best as I can do. I know we've got trees over here. Don't worry about it. It's going to be alright. This is just a very stupid early layout to solve this problem. It's about all I can. It's about all I can do there. So we'll let those guys see what's happening. I know I need to condense these things around. Probably don't really need to have so many pumps in this one spot. but they're already here. So it seems like kind of a waste to... they don't really do too much else with those. I can't really replace this with much of anything, but this is still polluted right now, so... I'm going to instead put another medium tank here, and then that will allow us to slowly start getting rid of these other ones. Also, like, we can't do anything else with this land. It's fine. And I don't have storage for gears. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? I need to have... Well, there are many reasons why I'm like this. I need to have a storage at least somewhere else where I can do that. That's not finished. That's fine. I've got an extra beaver. Let's put them in here. How many do I have in my... Okay, yeah, two. Two is probably okay. I can't really stop making planks because that's going to cause issues. Okay, now how much is this making? I said it was going to be between 200 and 220, I think. Oh, nice. 244, I will definitely take that any day of the week. That is looking a whole lot better than I thought. Anything else we can optimize over here? Don't know. We got those planted, that's fine. This, like I said, is not going to be a mission-critical dryness moment. But this... You know, actually, since we're not using any of this water for the time being, let's just let this get filled up a little bit. Just so we're not wasting anything. In terms of not utilizing it, at least. Yeah, we'll just let that be a little bit of an improvement there. Continue working on this at a later moment. Just want to make sure we can do as much as we can. I'm going to have them demolish this blockage so I can put... Oh, don't do it while somebody else is on the other side, you absolute buffoons. Oh, good. Good. Maybe they're actually smart enough to avoid this now. Just don't crop... Oh, alright. Well, if you get stranded on that side, that's your fault. And I will laugh at you and then laugh at myself because it's absolutely my fault anyway. Even though I said it was your fault. Yep. Oh, wow. Who would have seen that coming? Alright, let's just get that taken care of. That's going to help solve that issue. Should not be a problem. This is actually going down a lot faster than I thought it would. That's good. It's about time for us to start making some more metal blocks. I just don't have anywhere for those to go, which means... Even though I can't... Well, you know, I could, but it would be a horrible idea. I can't take those out yet. I can very carefully start covering this whole area up. I'm glad I researched these triple platforms. I knew that was going to end up being a problem. Okay, so that's a double. This probably, in all honesty, doesn't need to be... Before we get too comfy here, all I need really is to know the height of... Okay. Alright, I was thinking that maybe it would be a smart idea to just have the whole bottom of this paved with levees, because then, oh, you're not touching the ground, and it's not going to communicate any of the Badwater, but, that is not to be. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if this is going to work. If I put in impermeable floors along this bottom side bit here, that's not going to let anything go below, but it's... Oh, this is still going to be polluted anyway. Okay, this isn't worth doing. I had the idea that it was maybe have saved us a few tiles on the bottom in terms of not being contaminated, but no, there's no chance, because what matters is what the source sits on, so we really just have to go with the irrigation barriers on the very bottom here, and that's not happening anytime soon. So in order to cap this, it just has to be one of these things taken care of properly, which I know can be a bit of a tall ask sometimes. So I can have this capped to where it cannot do any further harm, and then once it's no longer a bad tide, replace this with a sluice, replace that with a sluice, and there you go. So that got cut down, that's fine. Nothing's getting replanted because I have this paused, so let's fix that. This has nothing else to cut, so that's fine. Get these guys taken care of. This should have... Okay, he's actually still cutting, that's fine. Getting more gears going is going to be very, very helpful. Even if this is a really suboptimal layout, it's going to help us out a whole lot. Got 300 some science. We talked a little bit last episode about how good of an idea it would be to rush the number cruncher. And that is still a good idea and should be a priority, but remember that it's 1,500 science, and it's 100 gears. We already talked about how big of a deal that's going to be. So instead, we have our 250 science. I'm going to get the deep Badwater pump going. And since we have space down here, in theory, that we could be utilizing if I decided to, you know, do things that make sense, I should be able to, with minimal weeping and gnashing of teeth, come in here like this and stick that guy right there. Start getting some bad water and then work toward processing that. But that, of course, is one of those things that's just going to take time. I know our favorite motto. So that'll keep him occupied for a little bit. I really do need to start doing something with all of this scrap metal, which means I need to turn this back on, which means I need to use the metal blocks that are already made. And now I know there's... Okay, there's only 9 scrap metal left over here, so I might as well just keep this turned on. Yeah, this is about to dry out. Let's fix that. Get that filled back up. Get this filled back up. All the trees that are replanted, or can be replanted, have been replanted. Food-wise, it's probably about time to get more corn back in here, but I don't exactly have a ton of beavers available right now. That balance will change in just a moment once this is finished filling back up. And get those 2 back there. We'll call that good enough. And this isn't too far away. Just need to get somebody in here to release all those. That should be good for another 3.5 days. So now, there we go. Yeah, just want to make sure we stay ahead of that. We still have 1,500. How about that? And this is done. And this can't reach anything else, so that can actually go away entirely. Got scrap metal there. I've got I've got enough to turn this on. Kind of. I also can't forget that the industrial lumber mill is going to not be sufficient to supply 2 gear workshops. So once enough of these things are taken care of, then I don't think it's going to be that mission critical to have this going. Now, I do still want to have this power go up to connect to stuff up here, but I have to route that a little bit better. And it's probably not going to be a great thing for a while. So in terms of gears, let's take this out of triple speed. Just have to decide what exactly I need to have going as soon as possible. If I'm saving it for the number crunchers, I need to have 100, but that's going to require I put more storage in. But I'm also nowhere close on having enough science, so I probably shouldn't worry about that. This guy right here needs 10, that's fine. I'm going to pause this so we can get one of those beavers back. Try to take care of as much of this as we can. Ah! See, now this is 2.5 days. These are, they're going to be fine. Yes, I can go ahead and set this back to 0.9. This can also be set back to 0.9. That's going to be totally okay. This is just waiting on a little bit more there. This seems alright. I don't have enough science to get a tapper shack yet, but these also haven't grown all the sap in. So that's fine. Let's start the process of clearing out these little tanks. And then, you know, depending on how we want to do this, I might actually be able to redo all of this. But I do want to consolidate as much of this as I can into these other larger tanks. And this does not need to be set as a supply. This is closer. This should be the one that's set as a supply. Prioritized. And then one of these up here. Honestly, probably this one can be set as an obtain. Or maybe it doesn't matter. It probably doesn't matter. Of course, eventually we want to get the large tanks, but you already know. I don't have to say it. Let's see, taking a look at the notes. I think I've covered, or at least discussed, just about everything that I wanted to. That doesn't mean we're done, but... Yeah, we just really need to try and get as much of this diverted more efficiently as possible and keep working toward getting the Badwater discharge and all this other stuff taken care of long term. And of course more storage for different food type things as we have the ability to do so. Yeah, I don't have any more storage for corn, and I don't really have a great place for that to go. Yeah, I could, if I really wanted to, I could take this fermenter out, and I could move it one more block this way, and then have a pathway going along this back side here. I don't know that that's really to our benefit at this time. It is an idea. Let's get rid of that. I can put one more piece of corn down. Yeah, I really, really want to be able to keep this clean, but that's not going to happen without having wood workshops and all that. Okay, so these are not being cut down. That's probably okay. I need to actually at this point, because I almost have 30 beavers, I need to build more beaver storage. That is the big issue at hand. So, let's take this blockage out. I'm going to swap this one out for a large beaver storage barracks. Just because this is probably the closest place to that making sense. And that can go there, because we're going to need that one more spot here. Yeah, that's going to block that off. I know this is going to create the ugly 2x2 tile thing here. That's the way it goes. And I don't think I'm going to be able to... maybe I can put a little warehouse or something down here. I question the intelligence of doing that. Yeah, let's get this out of here. Alright, yeah, I'm just going to make a regular platform. I think that's fine. I need this to be passable before I get rid of this thing. So let's do that. Let's get this done here. No, that's not done. I thought it was. 2 more planks. Or you can finish the other one first, that's fine. Okay, now that goes away, that goes away, that goes away. See, this land is polluted anyway, it's fine. Now this can become... Ah! See, I'm a fool. And I forgot that I haven't researched that. Well... Okay, that was extremely stupid. There's no other way I can orient this, is there? Well, I could rotate this way. Man, I wish I could do the spiral staircases. That would be so nice. Okay, well, I can rotate this, and then I could put another one on this side. This is berry storage that's empty anyway. Why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? What in the world kind of nonsense are you doing over here? Look, it made sense in my head, and I know it doesn't make sense, so we're just... You and I, we're going to agree that this was a bad idea that I'm now trying to salvage. And that's why this is the way this is. If we can come to an agreement on that, that would be great. I need to have more beaver storage, and I need it soon. I also need more metal storage, and I don't have a lot of great places for that to go. And I won't until I can terraform, which, well, that's an entirely different can of worms. I need everything. Do I really want to have a whole medium tank just for Badwater? The answer to that question is probably no. I don't have the science to do anything with this anyway. Not yet, so I shouldn't worry about it. Okay, well, for right now, I think that's going to be fine just to have 15 stored in there. And for that to be what it is. As soon as I've got these ruins removed here, then I could actually put some of these things, these long-term storages over here and have it not be a tremendous mistake. So I'm going to say this is going to be an okay spot for this to go. So what I will do is I'm going to slightly reorient this. Now that it's no longer super mission critical that this is what gets removed first. I'll take that. Because remember, I always wanted to have buildings connected on this side too. Okay, so these are empty. I don't have to get rid of them yet because I can't really replace them with anything better. But I don't need to have all of these flags popped up here because that's going to be annoying to look at. And just turn these back to normal mode. Total water storage at 3,000 now. Feels really good. And now I've got to get beavers into these pumps. Anyway, so let's preload that. Let's get 3 in there. Let's get 2 in there. Let's get 1 there, 1 there. Take my third builder back. I don't want to mess with the farms. I've got plenty of food for the time being. Do I have anybody in a... this thing? No, I do not. Okay, I definitely don't need anybody in here because I don't have any more storage for corn. Well, not really any more storage for corn. Pause the smelter. Not mission critical right now that we have people in gears. Not going to need them in the power wheel if I'm only running this and this. So that should get me about dead even on the manpower front. So that is hopefully going to be the case. Alright, so that's cycle 13 begun. This has beautiful clean water going through it now, so down we go. Down we go, and yes, of course, we do want to have all of the sluices and stuff installed there. Let's just make this set up ready to go. It's all looking good. We're pumping. We should be pumping at least. I got 2 of those. I'm going to take that up to 3 because now we're starting to get to the point where I can actually have more permanent employees here. And for now, I think that is probably okay. I've got enough logs to finish that. I've got this basically already done. I know this is far away, it's not the most ideal spot, but it's going to be additional beaver storage, and that's what these guys need. So that should be okay. Now, if I have the time, I'm really just frighteningly curious. I want to get in to here. Because that's gonna be fast. It's gonna be super fast. Doesn't matter if I get rid of this and this. So this isn't gonna flood in ways I don't care about it flooding. Let's get that blockage out. and then replace it with the dam, and that should, in theory, help solve a lot of our problems. I think in the comment responses that I made on this, is multiple people suggested it, so I couldn't get to everybody. But I believe I said we'll try it at some point in the future, not this episode. Well, I guess I lied. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I figured, you know what? We might as well. There's not really much of a reason not to, as far as I can tell. So that should be fine. Now, that is going to mean that this is kind of superfluous up here, but it's already built, so I'm gonna choose to have that not be a problem. Ah, it's always good to be reminded of something else you forgot. I also said I was going to fix this with a sluice, so that could be an interesting problem to solve now. Yeah, because that's not going to be touched. I'm going to have to pull this whole wall down, or just straight up take this floodgate out. I think that's probably the easiest way to do that. Yeah, so I'll tell you what. Let's just dump all the rest of this water, because honestly, it really doesn't matter. Let that get down enough where this isn't going to be a huge problem. There we go. And I can take this out completely. Too far from a district and cannot... Ah. Well, I can just get rid of that then. That doesn't end up having to be a problem. And then I will pop in a sluice here. Remember, the entire point of doing this is so that I can use the close above downstream depth tool. That's where that is above 0.9. So this will just keep this nice and filled. That should be totally okay for that. Yeah, I've given them a lot of stuff to do. And that's, why is this not finished? Okay, it needed 2 more logs, and I think I had them focused on doing other things instead. Gee, I wonder why. That should be solved soon. Alright, so this... Yeah, this is the thing that was causing all those issues. That is just about done. There we go. I've got logs. Oh, those have been there a while. Okay, let's get those. Here I go again, putting in more of that stuff. This being right here, I know this looks like it's flooding, but it's not flooded because of reasons. That's a good upgrade. That's a good fix. They got it here at all. No, they did not. And I also need to do... Why did I do this to myself? Well, I'm going to continue to trust the process that maybe I should not be trusting. But I'm just going to put that there. And I think that's going to be okay. I just want to make sure I'm maximizing my water here without it turning into a huge, huge ordeal. So theoretically, this is fine now. I should put these back in, but they haven't gotten all of these logs out of the way, so I guess we'll just kind of leave that to what it's supposed to be. Yeah, I got too much stuff for these poor little beaver builders to handle all at once. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Just going to be running around like chickens with their heads cut off for a little bit. Oh, that forester doesn't need to be going. And that lumberjack flag doesn't need to be going. Which means I can get 2 more beavers as builders. Speed this process up just a touch. And it looks like I can put somebody in the food factory. Well, that's going to put our... okay. So we have a short temperate cycle. At least it's a drought. Things could have been a whole lot worse if it was a bad tide. So drought is actually going to be pretty advantageous for us to do some work down here. I don't know what other work is really mission critical for down here. But now that we... Here I go again, adding even more workload to these poor beavers that don't deserve it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put in a medium tank for Badwater, because we're gonna want to have that. And I do, unfortunately, need to have this be a priority job. No, because obviously during a drought we're not going to have anything at all. And that's not going to be great. This, I believe, in addition to being the title of a interesting drum corps show from 20-some years ago, that absolutely none of you are going to have any idea what I'm talking about. I'm going to be able to put in a floodgate there, and then take this out, hopefully without a beaver getting stuck on there, so I can keep water in this a little bit longer. I know I just keep giving them more and more and more stuff to do, and doing nothing but causing additional problems. However, I think they can do it. I do need to get this sluice in place. I've got all the things. I know I have enough stuff to build this. I just don't have the manpower to do it. Okay, this is full. That's fine. I get that out of there. I've got my 4 builders, right? It should be, yeah. Although, for this to be a drought, this really doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. We're just gonna pretend I didn't do that. You need to keep that topped up. This one not so much. And is this okay? I've got the gears. I should at least. Do they? Okay, that's almost done. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. I was just cutting it, you know, maybe a little dangerously close. But we're doing okay. We got over 2,000 water. Food storage isn't looking great. But I think it could definitely be worse. I do really need to make sure that this gets finished. So this one last plank here, so that I can keep this filled. Okay, so that's done. This can go right the way up to 1.9. That should be fine. This is done. That means this can get filled up. I know it's, 1.7 days is not going to be enough time to really do too much damage here, but any non-zero amount of bad water stored in something that's not one of the pumps is something else we can play with during this upcoming drought. And possibly start making some dynamite, if we can manage to get enough science and all these other materials to do that. The other problem we're going to run into is this is not going to be doing anything whatsoever until that's going to be anything. So I'm going to put a beaver in there instead of these things here, because we can have the power wheel running to do everything else. This is all looking okay. I need that to stay full. This, like I said, doesn't matter. Let's get this replanted, because I can. So many other things that I could be doing that I haven't done that I probably should have done. Is what it is. Okay, that's filling up slowly. That's fine. That was always allowed to do that way. Oh good, this is in place. That was important that that got finished. So once this floodgate is in, or it's already in, but once this slope is removed, then I can just put a regular levee here, and this will keep a lot more water stored up here for emergency pumping and for irrigation. This will drain out, and we'll be able to maybe start doing some other stuff. That's going to be a next episode thing. I'm just going to go ahead and say, now please finish this before you quit. And you're already at 100%. There you go. Okay. So now this is... Why did you go that way to do that? Okay, this is still reachable, right? Well, it doesn't say they can't reach it. I just don't know... I'm just not sure how Beaver is going to walk over here to build this. Oh, they can do it from above. Okay, all right. That's fine. So those are doing okay. That's fine. Now, when these droughts get longer and longer, then these are going to be, dry a lot sooner relative to the end of the drought. So we are going to have an ability to splash over here. And I think the easiest, most pain-free way for that to be a thing is going to be to stick a fluid dump up here and just have it go down into this pool to refresh this. I'm not going to do it yet, but that is going to be, when that does become necessary, that's going to be my go-to strategy, unless enough of you reach out and say, hey, that's absolute garbage and you should feel terrible for having that idea. And then, okay, maybe I won't do that. This also is not mission critical that I get this finished, but I think, given the fact that I would like this to still be something I don't have to think about later, I should fix that, because I'm not going to... Why do I have 11 flooded buildings? Is that really all from the stuff flowing out through? I didn't think it was going to be that big of a... didn't think it was going to be that big. Okay, no, it's not. It's just temporary. It's very weird. Yeah, because there's not very much pressure at all coming from any of these things. Okay, well, that's good. Having this taken care of to keep these irrigated, that's a good use of this water that we weren't really doing much with. Alright, so I've got this. I know this is super far away, but make use of the compacted water wheels while we can. You know how that goes. Okay, I've got storage for metal blocks. I really need to get more food storage. That is a slow battle we're going to find ourselves with, dealing with the next couple of episodes. I would love to be able to get over here without it being a huge ordeal, but I can't put stairs where there's a tree, so I'm going to have to... figure out some other way of doing this, and it... Honestly, it's probably going to have to be just regular stairs coming down here. And then, walking across to this bit, and then removing, like, one of these. Maybe. Yeah, if I remove this birch tree, then I can have stairs go here, and then stairs go down here, and that'll get me close enough. I think. I'm pretty sure that's going to be just about the only way I could make that work. Okay, this is more or less full. I'm going to call that good enough. Need to make sure that gets topped up. We're replanting trees. We're honestly looking okay on most of this. 30 beavers I feel like is a pretty good spot for the foreseeable future. It gives us enough flexibility to have full builders, summon the hauling posts, rotate a few between all these different production things, and not have to be too terribly worried. So I'm going to say that, honestly, this is going to have to be good enough for where we are. We are at 326 science. So next episode is going to be probably a little bit more focused on logistics and especially trying to do whatever we can with our Badwater situation over here. Improving this, making it so this pollutes less of this area over here, which honestly is not going to be difficult. Just have to put a couple levees over here. And, you know, that's going to be all she wrote on that. Now, I'm not going to end the episode until we find out how long this drought's going to be. But this is a good time for us to do our end-of-episode stuff, where, of course, we recognize everybody who supports the channel behind the scenes, makes it so I don't have to have sponsors and don't have to worry about all the minutia of the business side of YouTube quite so much. We can just, you know, have fun playing with beavers on the internet and, you know, play the game as it comes and not have to worry about cutting anything down. And I'm very, very thankful that you folks allow me to do that. So all the folks on that list, the names that you've seen on the screen, and you too, even if you're not on that, you're a big part of what we do here, and I am very grateful you chose to spend some time with me today. Watching these fun little beavers try not to, you know, die in this inhospitable hellscape that we've created for them. But it's only a 10-day drought, really? Come on, man. Well, it's fine. Oh, I didn't even shut these floodgates all the way. Well, it's gonna be all right. We have the ability to survive. We've already established that. We just have to do things a little bit more carefully next time so we don't have any other problems. But that's all the time I got for this one. We're going to be just fine. And now we can get into some of the more fun stuff. But yeah, I will see you in the next episode with these beavers. Should be on, I believe, Monday. And very, very soon for some other stuff. We got a lot of cool things coming, folks. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.